So we start with my number one, which is, again, the number one for every person who knows anything about anything right now, and that is the Lakers. For anybody who doesn't know, just some very, very basic facts and figures. Starting with the fact that the Lakers have taken 85 three-point attempts through 2 games. They have made 19 of those attempts for a sterling percentage of 22.4. They are not, however, the worst three-point shooting team in the league at press time, because the San Antonio Spurs went 7 for 34 from downtown in their first game for a sterling clip of 20.6%. But then comes the Lakers, and then after that, the Denver Nuggets. We may mention them. And then the Knicks, 24.3%. How you doing, guys? Good job. So yeah, a lot of threes, not a lot of makes. The Lakers are also shooting 38.8% overall from the field. That is only better than the Oklahoma City Thunder. And of course, the big story from Thursday night, Russell Westbrook took 11 shots, and he made as many of those shots as me and you did combined against the Clippers.
It's getting sad. I'm not even at the point anymore where it's fun, or even, I don't even think it was ever fun. I guess it's just like, I feel bad because Russ is clearly at the end of his career. He's playing a role he was never going to age into, where it's like the veteran that becomes a spot up shooter like Jason Kidd or somebody else of that nature, where it was like a good point guard that was good with the ball and now is fine without it. You know,
or Vince Carter, even. It doesn't have to be a point guard.
Melo last year, the last couple of years, you know, where he could just like thrive on his good shooting. They're like, Russ went 0 of 6 from 3 last night.
I mean, I should have this handy. I'll look up what Carmelo Anthony shot from deep last year. I'm fairly certain it was quite good.
Career high effective field goal percentage. Okay. Listen, take it from the Melo stand. I was one that was like, if we trade everything for Donovan Mitchell and then figure out a way to trade Randall, then give me stretch Melo at the backup 4, you know?
Yeah, so he shot 37.5% from 3 last season for, yes, a career high effective field goal percentage. By the way, a career high effective field goal percentage by a lot.
Yeah, by 54.
Yeah, because all he did was shoot threes. The reason I bring up Melo is Carmelo Anthony does not currently have a job. And that is because even despite the shooting, teams are looking at Melo and they're like, he's going to hurt us too much. I get on defense, probably
defensively. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, and more to the point, it's like, what are we investing in? We are investing in a player that is obviously not going to help our future. This is about the here and now. And well, I suppose you can make the argument that Russell Westbrook is a better defender than Carmelo Anthony at this point in his career. He had 5 steals in the fourth quarter, or he had 5 steals against the Clippers and a couple big ones in the fourth quarter. I don't know that you could really say that based on how Russ has played defense over the last few years. So you have that part of it. You have the non-shooting part of it. And you have the other part of it with Melo, which is that, like, this is not someone who is going to be part of our 5-year plan. This person may not even be in our 5-month plan. And I think that lends credence to what you just said, which is that he's a guy at the end of his career. And yet, and this is what I wanted to push back on, we saw Charles Barkley's comments or heard Charles Barkley's comments, in which Barkley basically said it's sad to see a guy. I mean, really, he was basically like, this guy should not be in this situation. This isn't his fault. If he was playing with joy, we wouldn't be seeing this version of Russell Westbrook. And then Paul George played Russ last night and used to play with Russ in Oklahoma City, said a different version of that. And what I took from those comments, at least that those are just 2 people, but those seem to be 2 people who believe that, like, if Russ was not trying to fit himself as a square peg into a round hole that the Lakers need, we would not be seeing this version of Russ. So it's like, I don't know what to do with that. Like, is this guy still, like, if you put him, I don't even, but that's the problem. Like, what team is it? There is no team. We've talked about this over the summer. There's no team that you can be like, if you put him on this team, he could be an all-star this year. Like that. I don't know.
The tougher part about it is that what team is like risking that he goes to them and with his high usage, he regains form And they're what the Wizards were a couple of years ago. Nobody's going to try and be better than expected in that
Not
sense.
in this season.
That's why. Like, he picked the worst season to show that he might
That's a great point.
Be kind of washed, because like this is the year that everybody that would trade for him is to tell him to go home. And then next year's the year where he can show that he could be a backup point guard or whatever John Wall's going to be this year, you know?
Oh, and, John Wall, and that's probably the best story of the league so far through 3 games. But he looked pretty good. I love that he came out and he hit first 2, long mid-rangers. That was nice. He's not going to be the John Wall of old, but he doesn't need to be. But I think the difference there, John Wall clearly is okay coming off the bench, playing. I think he played 25 minutes last night against the Lakers. He scored whatever he scored. Like, there'll be nights he scores a lot. There'll be nights he won't score a lot. But like, he's a man who's played 40 some odd games, I think, right? In the last 3 years or last 40, whatever it is. He's not played a lot of games. So he has had time to sit and begrudgingly or otherwise embrace where he is now at in his career. And it's like, whatever he does, people are going to look at it and be like, wow, that's, it's gravy. For Russ, he was in the All-NBA conversation 16 months ago when he was finishing up with the Wizards. And then last year, he didn't average triple-double last year, but he still put up numbers. So it was like 17, 7 and 7 or something like that. Yeah. And we know what his opinion was this summer, because when his agent basically told him, listen, man, come off the bench if they want you to come off the bench and just play a role. He fired his agent because that's not how he sees himself. And now adding to that, which is the other layer of complexity to this whole thing and why we can probably start talking about fake Lakers trades already, is they had him come off the bench in the last preseason game, and then he blamed an injury on the fact that he had to come off the bench because he said, I'm not used to doing that and I wasn't able to get properly warmed up. And obviously he was okay to play in the first 2 games, but man, this situation, it's just not good. And I don't know. I don't know what the out is here other than he gets traded.
Yeah. I'm still surprised that he's on this team. And when we talked to,
I know you are.
I forget his name, but when we had the Laker guy on, Jacob, when we had Jacob on, he seemed like dead set. Like, yeah, Russ isn't going to be on this team this year. And every Laker fan in my life, now I'm not trying to be Bill Simmons or like the Knicks fans in my life. Like, I'm going off the small sample size of Laker fans I know.
I have none in my life.
It seems unanimous with every Laker fan I even read about or talk to or hear from, that they're just confused why this is still going on. Because from what I sensed, there's 2 elements to this. There's the fact that they think they could get more than Hield and Turner, that they're waiting to see what happens in Chicago. They're waiting, and I know this is another team on your list. They're waiting to see what happens in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
And that leads into the other thing, that they think they're getting Kyrie next summer, if not this summer. They think they're trying to keep that max slot open that Russ is taking up so Kyrie can go there next summer. And then that will extend LeBron's career.
And I don't necessarily think they're wrong about that. And here's the thing. I read Bill Plaschke, who, has been writing
times. Yeah, forever.
Yeah. Read his piece from today, or maybe it was from yesterday. I don't even know what his most recent piece, in which he's like, the Lakers need to trade Russ.
Mm-hmm.
If you do, at the cost of 2 first-round picks in 2027 and 2029, what you are doing is you are taking the option of a proper rebuild as we know it. And granted, the Lakers have never really done that, although they kind of did by accident in the earlier part of the middle part of the last decade with, all those number 2 picks they ended up with. Anyway, you're taking the traditional option off the table for at least 3 or 4 years, because you're not going to engage in a full-fledged tank if the year, the next year, the following year, you're not going to have your pick. And I get the hesitation to do that because LeBron is however old he is and this and that. I don't know. I don't think I'd trade both of the first. I'm honestly at this point, like you could even tell me that there's some logic to not trading one first. And the reason being what you just said is he expires this summer. And do you think that's the thing? If you don't think the trade you're going to make can win you the championship this year and feel pretty good about it, I don't think you could make the trade because of the Kyrie part of it, right?
And then there's the comments JJ Redick said the other day that I wonder if we're going to start to see a movement started by those that have access to the LeBron camp. And like you'll see suddenly there's like a narrative forming throughout the media that clearly is coming from LeBron and his team, that this season is not about winning championships. This should not be about how good the Lakers are. This should be about LeBron passing Kareem and setting the all-time points record. And that should be what the season is about. Celebrating greatness for a man that's going to still be in his prime then in year 20. Yeah. And all this nonsense to overshadow the fact that he's the one that pushed the Russell Westbrook trade through. And these 2 years that were supposed to be part of his prime are just like 2 years that he might miss the playoffs or just be lucky to be the play-in. I will say
that's on him.
Well, I know. Believe me, I'm criticizing him for it. I'm saying the fact that, this season's just about his greatness and not about a title this isn't on him to an extent.
This isn't a LeBron James legacy discussion, but might one more championship, one or not one, be the difference between him being considered the greatest player of all time or not?
I don't think it will. I don't think anybody that thinks Michael Jordan's the greatest player of all time is ever changing their mind. I don't think anybody that's already declared LeBron the greatest. I don't think anybody's on the fence anymore. I really don't. He would have to Tom Brady this. Where he's I was going to say,
if LeBron was the best player on a team that won the championship in year 20 of his career, man, I'm a Mr. Michael Jordan guy. And that would at least get me to go back and, I don't know, be with my thoughts for a while.